What an incredible weekend. USA! USA! But we've got some Falcon news we've got to talk about. Atlanta! What's going on? It's Dukes and Bell on Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. We start off every day and every hour by saying, hey, man! Mike Bell, look, we will spend plenty of time today on what I think was the most significant sports moment in the last 30 years. I'm just being real with you. There's a lot of things that have happened in professional sports. There's nothing like the pride and the nationalism of your country winning, especially when you're underdogs. But we need to talk about this story that literally has happened here over the last few hours in regards to our Falcons. And it's something Mike and I have discussed because the Combine is this week, guys. Tomorrow, Kevin Stefanski, Ian Cunningham, our new general manager, are going to speak. As a matter of fact, we are going to have Coach on our show later in the afternoon, somewhere around 4 o'clock. I say that because sometimes the timing up there in Indy gets crazy, but we will have Coach on tomorrow. Mike, the Falcons reportedly are going to franchise tag Kyle Pitts. Now, these reports are out there. We know we're in the window. Mm-hmm. It's something we've talked about. But Falcon fans, here's the deal. Do you want this? Because as much angst as we've had over Kyle Pitts over the last few years, he's good, he's not. He's so athletic, he's not. He makes plays, he doesn't. It's the quarterback's fault, it's the coach's fault. It's Kyle's fault, Kyle's hurt. Mm-hmm. You okay with this? Because, again, it's going to be a guaranteed year of $16 to $18 million, depending on this cap, Mike. We don't know what that number is going to be.
Right. And
I know there are some Falcon fans who feel like, you know what, man? He hadn't proven it. He hasn't proven it.
Right. I just, the thing is, it's funny. Guys are talking to us before this tagging period began. Said, you know what's going to happen? Pitts will go somewhere else. It'll be a Pro Bowler for 8 years in a row. I go, well, that is par for the course if you buy into Atlantitis, as many of you do. But I just think in the Stefanski offense, I would love to see how he would do his thing. And I thought ESPN.com did a pretty good breakdown talking about how, not the best run blocker. That's not really his thing. He's like Tony Gonzalez. What you hope him to be. No, he's not remotely close to Tony's legacy, but we want him to be what Tony was, bro. A bigger wide receiver. That's the stuff that we always talk about. Use your physicality to push off legally, what the refs will allow, to get those catches, man, to be the red zone weapon that you're really not. And I will do one more year. One more year of Pitts as the tryout, and this is the opportunity at perhaps $16 to $16.5 million.
All right, look, this is the smart play by the franchise, only because you have a new regime. But it still doesn't sell me on who he is. When I ask you who Kyle Pitts is, what's your answer to me? Because when I ask you that same question about Bijan Robinson, you've got an answer, don't you? Mm-hmm. When I ask you that same question about Drake London, you've got an answer, don't you? If I ask you that same question about Jesse Bates, you've got an answer. If I ask you what is and who is Kyle Pitts,
also I just work here.
You struggle with that. and after 5 years, Mike, we shouldn't be struggling. I am conflicted. I think from a business standpoint, this is the right decision because Kevin Stefanski and his staff with Tommy Rees deserve an opportunity to evaluate. Mm-hmm. But I'm also conflicted as a fan to go, bro, I've seen you for 5. I've seen you. And it's not been as consistent as we need it to be.
I mean, that's it. If you were asked to describe Kyle Pitts in 2 words, I would say untapped potential. Now, some of that starts with the man in the mirror. He's got what are you? Where's your dedication? Because we know he has the capability, because every time he plays Tampa Bay, he looks like the best tight end on the planet. And then when we then have 3 or 4 games where he doesn't do anything. So I know what he's capable of. That's why I think in this case, as much as the players hate the tag because they want to get that big money and get it locked in with a guaranteed, portion of the contract, this is a really good remedy for us. And again, technically for him, if he balls out, he may ball out so much we'll just tag him again, which doesn't suck. He'll make $32 to $35 million the next 2 years.
True.
But I'm cool with at least let's see what Stefanski and this regime get out of this guy that perhaps previous coaching staffs couldn't. Let's see what happens. Let's give it a shot. Because he's getting older. Remember, he was only 20 when he got here.
He is young, 25, and that is another reason why I think a lot of people go, you're silly if you move on from a 25-year-old guy who has all this potential. 404-726-0929. You guys can let us know what you think. That is where we start today because, again, our buddy Mark Ramonde, various reports out there talking about the Falcons are likely to tag him, which also, by the way, understand they have until July 15th to work out a long-term deal.
Right. But I don't want to do that either.
Well, look.
I mean, because for all the things you just said, I would like to extend the audition one more season with Pitts, and then we can, again, I think there's a lot of guys out there that, we all agree when he got drafted, it's tremendous risk reward because you don't take tight end with the 4th overall pick. But that's water under the bridge, okay? We can talk about Penei Sewell. We can talk about, in hindsight, we should have gotten Micah Parsons. Well, there's 6 other teams that should have done that too.
So what's funny, though, Mike, about that, and I agree with you, but was he not the best athlete available? Because that's what our GM is saying this year.
He was.
Okay? He was the best athlete available. There were no 6'4", 6'5" guys run like deer out there looking like Kyle Pitts coming out of Florida. So that is the danger that I'm always saying when I hear GMs go, we'll take the best athlete available, because we did. And it necessarily hasn't panned out the way we thought. Here's the other thing, though, about this potential contract. If they work out a long-term deal, I'm just throwing numbers out there. I'm not an agent, but I would tell you, if you multiply 16 and a half or 17 by 4, you're talking about $70 to $75 million over 4 years. And again, a huge signing bonus, and a lot of that money up front guaranteed, Mike, in the first 2 or 3 years of the deal. So I'm with you. I would not prefer to do that, which is what Kyle Pitts and his agent are going to want to do. David Mulligetta, they're going to want a long-term deal, but I don't think that's what the Falcons should do. 404-726-0929. This is where we are. It's starting the day because, again, new news. Combine is here, and this is something we've discussed at Atlanta in regards to our tight end position. It's not the most important thing on this team, but you can't ignore it. You cannot go into the combine, Mike, and not know if you need a tight end or not, or if you're going to be drafting one, or maybe going out in free agency and attempting to get one.
Warren just mentioned in my ear that the Cardinals Pro Bowl and arguably the best tight end as far as statistically the last few years, and we actually shut him down when we played him. Good defensive plan. Trey McBride got $43 million guaranteed on his new deal. So I'm cool. I just, like I said, this is one where, for all the reasons we just laid out, it makes sense. And now we see how Kyle Pitts responds, because I don't want to give him a full contract. I don't want to give him $43 million to the point of Trey McBride.
It's going to be more than that.
Yeah, because that's what Trey got, and Pitts I think is not as statistically not as good as Trey has been over the 5 years. But I just think this is a perfect way. And again, Pitts, as they say, sing for your supper, man. You go earn it, and maybe you earn so much we can't even afford you. Or we just tag you.
It's a fascinating question. It's something that when we throw it around, you guys go, ah. Then when it comes to reality, and you're like, oh, they're really talking about doing this? Yes, they are.
Yeah,
they are. And we've not been in position, Mike, over the last few years, by the way, to franchise anybody. We haven't had anybody worthy of a franchise tag on our team to say, yeah, we got to take care of this guy, and he needs to be around here another year. You're not going to franchise Caden Ellis, okay? That's not happening. This is a guy coming off of his rookie deal. This makes sense. Caden, you're just going to re-up if you're going to do it, Mike. Short period, I think 3 years. Give him a bunch of money up front. And again, what he was making, I think, was $8 or $9 million. Guys, that's not a lot of money for a guy like Caden Ellis and what he meant to your football team.
Right. No, I mean, we've talked about guys want to keep Tyler Algier. I mean, it's a kind of a luxury item. We can as much as we love him, and I'm not trying to discount what he is, because he is a unique physical size guy, which is a perfect compliment to Bijan, and he's already been a 1,000-yard rusher. I just can't allocate that top 5 running back money for him right now. But the Pitts thing is different for all the things we talked about. You're betting. You guys play craps. We're betting on the come, right? We're betting on the come. We're hoping we're going to roll that number, and hopefully he does.
Yeah, hopefully.